Today is November 16th, 2011. My name is Latasha Wilson, and I'm with the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program at the OSU Library. I am joined today by Chris Ramsay, head of the art department at OSU and professor of art. I'm interviewing him for the Creativity Initiative series of O State Stories. So thank you for joining me today.
It's my pleasure.
We're going to be talking mostly about creativity on the OSU campus, but to start out, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, where you were born and where you grew up?
Sure. I was initially born in Iowa City, Iowa, and when I was about 4 years, moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan, where my father got a job at the University of Michigan, and he is a professor of art as well, and teaches or taught life drawing and painting, and also had a background in art education. So basically, my memories are mostly of Ann Arbor, Michigan, growing up, and went to high school there and continued on to the University of Michigan from there. And I think you were wondering how that ties into my art background. Is that
well, or when you got interested in art?
Okay. Well, I basically grew up in culturally rich environment, and also having a father as an artist made it a lot easier, I think, than most people having to deal with society and parental pressures not to do that. But I did not want to be an artist by any means. I didn't even recognize that I had any skill in that way. I went to a summer camp one summer with my newspaper route money, and it was a month-long camp out in Colorado. And they had amazing facilities. And near the end of that time, they had a craft cabin where they did lapidary stonework, and then a leather and jewelry making cabin. And so I went in and I said, I want to make, I took a lapidary class, learned how to cut turquoise and such. And then I went over to the jewelry cabin, and I said, I want to make a belt buckle that looks just like those two mountains right there, and have a moonlit sky and chip turquoise and ebony mountains. And this guy was like, well, if you can draw it, I'll help you. And so I sat down and he showed me, and I just started making it and wove the leather belt. And after that, I made some gifts for my family and such. And when I went back home, everyone was just shocked that I actually was excited about doing something, and it happened to be in art. And so I took high school art classes, and specifically jewelry making, and got a scholarship to go to the University of Michigan in jewelry and metals, and studied there for 4 years, and had an artist in residency after undergraduate school that I was headed to, but I got a contact from a faculty member at Texas Tech University, and he had just come from Bloomington, Indiana, where he was head there of the metals program. But anyway, he had heard about me just through the vine, I guess, and contacted me and said, how would you like to come to Texas Tech in Lubbock, Texas? And I had no idea. I'd never heard of Texas Tech, never heard of Lubbock. And so he was offering a free tuition, basically graduate teaching assistantship, and assistantship just to take care of the studio and such. And so I helped him start a program there. And I thought, well, I'll go for a year, and if it's not good, then I'll leave. It turned out to be fabulous, just what I needed to really get my own start. And one thing that was incredible too is that Lubbock was just so different from Ann Arbor, and geologically different. It's a place where you can really see the curvature of the earth, and there was excellent faculty there too. And I think what's happened is so many people have graduated with MFAs from starting in the 60s to present, that you can find really good people all over the country. So the school may not have the name for art, but you can find some excellent faculty in places like Oklahoma State too. So it's pretty interesting from that regard.
How old were you when you went to that camp?
I was 15. It's 1976. It's easy to remember that date. So anyway, I finished graduate school and was in metals and jewelry primarily. My work is much more sculptural than it is wearable. And my first job out of grad school was right here at OSU in 1986. I was 24 years old. And I was replacing somebody for a year in sabbatical, and then I was back out in the job market and didn't find a job. So I moved to Austin, Texas, and became a preparator for a children's museum and the Laguna Gloria Art Museum, assisted in preparatory installation of work for a museum, and also started jewelry classes at their museum school, and basically carved out a living there and kept sending out my teaching applications, and then got another one-year job at the University of Illinois. And actually, prior to that, I also taught a summer at the University of Michigan too, but really as a tenure, well, it wasn't tenure track, it was all just adjunct positions. So at University of Illinois for a year. It's a good experience. And then I taught at Purdue for a year. And then the first tenure track job that came up was back here, of all places. Who knew? And I applied, and so I was back here in 1989, 90. And I've been here since, and have taken leaves to teach at San Diego State University and some other places, and had a couple sabbaticals that have been very rewarding, to travel to Europe and learn to do stone carving in Italy, and research in Ireland, and also went back to Ann Arbor and worked for a semester as well. So yeah, that's a quick story there.
What did you think of Stillwater the first time you came? And then when you moved back, how did you feel about coming back to Stillwater?
Well, at least I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah.
Well, Stillwater then and Stillwater now, it continues to develop and grow. I think for me, the saddest thing about the growth of Stillwater in many ways is that it grows to look like other places in America. I think the corner of Hall of Fame and Perkins, you've got Red Lobster, Perkins, and then some kind of weird Cheez-It thing that should be there about 6 months and gone, I imagine. But they built this whole new building. But you just look there, and there's a huge American flag out in front of Perkins, and you look down, there's Chili's and Starbucks and Popeye's whatever chicken, that thing, I don't even know what it is. But it's the growth that way is societal consumerism. And the kind of growth that Stillwater really needs is OSU is, well, Stillwater, really the strength of Stillwater is in its university. And what needs to happen more is the cultural activities and dynamic research that's happening in the sciences and agriculture and the arts, and all of that needs to spill out beyond this artificial border that's here. And the kinds of things that the Creativity Initiative, I think, is trying to do, at least in my mind, is to allow that to breathe more out into the community. At least that's the kind of involvement I've been trying to make happen. And recently, I think there is some growth in the right direction. I see signs of things, but there's also some reasons I think that it's also slowed down too. And maybe through some of your other questions that'll come out. But I think one thing is the economy has a pill, you know, and it kind of makes it kind of tough. But also I think there's vision, and some of the vision is not there to try to bring, well, I think in the city government, really, to try to make it more of a college university atmosphere. It's a funny town that way. It doesn't really have that quality, and it's not just me saying that. I hear it from people, faculty who come in from other towns, from students who come in from other towns, visitors who come into town, and I think the city and the university should really listen to that and try to address that. And there are a couple things that are going on, such as the purchase of the postal plaza and taking the university outside this artificial boundary here into the downtown area and creating a public facility that is a research site as well as a museum for research and public intersection there. And if that was elaborated on, I think that's a good start. But there's so many other things that the university is doing that is exciting. I mean, movie events, speaker series, arts and humanities speaker series, music, the things that scientists are doing, I think the public would love to learn about and attend lectures. But I think there's a little bit of intimidation about coming onto campus. Plus, just parking. I mean, you get a ticket immediately if you step on here, and that people, they talk about parking downtown just for shopping being an issue. Well, imagine getting here, all of a sudden you get a $5 ticket like that. Yeah. It doesn't. It's trivial, but it means something, and all of these things are little signs that that it's hard to get over here and keep people off. And I think this, again, it needs to go the other way. Mm-hmm. The university out into the community.
Well, when Burns Hargis became president, around a little after that, in 2008, the Creativity Initiative was initially formed. And in 2009, they had some events such as the Creativity Bazaar and then the Creativity Challenge, which you took first place in for the faculty category with your idea, which is similar to what we've been talking about.
Do you want me to explain what that idea was and what's happened since then?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, I've lived in Stillwater, as I said, for quite some time, so I approached the Creativity Initiative, not project, but the challenge, if you will, as both a citizen and as a faculty member. And I looked at it as, again, a way to try to do something that would bring the university into the town. And the concept was to create a downtown site with an open glass facade so that outsiders passing by, driving by, would see what was going on inside intentionally. And within this space, multiple things could happen. And I envisioned, obviously, visual art shows. That's an easy one. That would be rotating. It would be student work, faculty work, work that's from outside our community, work from inside our community, a place where community artists and university community artists and the greater state of Oklahoma and beyond could show. And this is true when I talk also about musical performances that could happen. It could be very like coffee club kind of things, or it could be very formal too, little chamber recitals. It could be a variety of things. Theater performances, it could be street art, could be troops that come through on the way from say Dallas or Oklahoma City to St. Louis or something. Maybe we could bring them through, or community groups. Again, all these possibilities. There is a movie series within the English department that's foreign films and also avant-garde films. People don't know about this, and people would love it. And our high school students would love that, and junior high even. All different people, and it could be right down there held. And when we have arts and humanities lecture series, which are on all kinds of topics from political to social to high arts, low arts, I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. It could be down there, Or if it's not down there, they could be advertised in the window on some kind of video kind of screen or something, letting people know that they're invited to come over here for these kind of events. At the library, you guys do all kinds of things in the Helmrich Reading Room that are fantastic. But who knows about it off campus? And So there's that whole idea going. And then it kind of even, part of my thought was that there are probably things that microbiologists are doing in like the HBRC that are incredible. I mean, looking microscopically into our world and being able to share that in a public forum would be good for our whole place here. So we had a little something like this in Project Gallery, which was two of our art students who basically lived up above and then opened the downtown site to have shows of primarily their friends and such. And it was the beginning of something like that, and it basically showed everybody that something like this could exist, because it was basically a fishbowl. They were never open, but the idea, just that little bit, showed people this is a neat idea, but it didn't have the kind of programming or energy that I'm talking about, and really bringing in the university and other kinds of things. In addition to that, I was also visualizing a place, and ideally in that building, but since then I've learned of some other places in town that would work equally as well in conjunction with that. But having artist studios, and when I say artist studios, I'm not speaking of only visual artists, I mean musicians. I should have mentioned too the spoken word, like poetry, storytelling, that kind of art form is also very good. So it could be theater, music, English, visual arts, and others. But anyway, these studios, maybe there would be, I have no idea what the number would be, but let's say 8 studios, where there'd be juried selection of artists that could be, I don't know what the parameters for that would be, but it could be local, it could be national, Oklahoma, it could be regional, could be national. Anyway, these people would come and be provided studio space for maybe 2 years on some kind of rotational cycle, and they'd have to use that space, of course, for whatever their art forms were. And the idea is there'd be some, hopefully, collaboration and discussion there, and at least twice a year they would have an open studio, an event, where they would share what they're doing and their thought process and their productivity and just what's going on. And then the other thing I was thinking about is there might be some living quarters either there for a guest artist or guest speaker, whatever, for the university. They could stay there and do work on campus as well as some work there, so that there's some breathing in and out kind of stuff constantly. And there's some other things I'm kind of drawing a blank at the moment, but just this vitality spot to show what's going on culturally. Oh, I know, it was First Friday events.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, duh. Everybody does it. Every downtown, any art center, and the businesses downtown could, and I'm not talking about starting September 1st and ending April 30th. I'm talking about year round, which is something Stillwater really needs. And it's for Stillwater community, which includes the university. They really should not be separated. They are the same. And the strength of Stillwater is the university. And if you have this First Friday event, the wine bar, the coffee places, the clothing shops, the bike store now, the outdoor shops, all of them could be on board with that and be open and kind of get it engaged. So we are getting more restaurants. That could be also a stimulus to really kind of help that, and it becomes an event. The city and schools and people in the community could even, do something out there too. Street musicians, I don't know. But it could be really fun. We don't have anything like that. There's nothing like that as a springboard for developing business. And, which brings me to a whole other point. The State Arts Council did a this economic impact report, and it basically outside organization came in and did research in Oklahoma and other states as well, but basically found that wherever arts districts or arts is part of the community, the economy rises as well. Mm-hmm. And so you have to invest in that in order to make it happen. Let's look at Oklahoma City in the 10 years, what they've done with that. The Bricktown district, the new Performing Arts Center remodeled, the new art museum. There's a new Native American cultural museum on the south of the river that's happening. And Tulsa is just so jealous. I mean, they are just, Oklahoma City it's shifted. It used to be Tulsa, mm-hmm. Now it's Oklahoma City that is like the cultural place. They've got, I can never remember the name of it, but Western Heritage Museum, it's been retitled. Of course, the memorial. And there's a great story where a disaster happens and it's a rebuilding. It's a phoenix. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. Something bad has become something incredible. And Tulsa is just scurrying to try to catch up. And this is where OSU is also missing the boat. Right across the street from the Brady District, OSU has some incredible Frank Lloyd Wright designed or influenced buildings, a whole campus over there. And the Brady District is starting to come alive because they're mimicking what Oklahoma City has done, and it's creating a thriving cultural district. And OSU is not capitalizing on the fact that they have the Philbrook, the Gilcrease, and an arts community already, and they could be taking this department, art department, and all of the arts and infusing it over there and get in on the beginning of something that's going to be really great right now. Now's the time to do it. It's going to be a missed opportunity if they overlook that. We have tried to run art history classes over there, which filled fine, and we were going to do graphic design, but they wouldn't provide us labs. I'm sure we as a department, if provided the opportunity, would seriously consider moving over there. I mean, it doesn't help Stillwater, but there's no reason it couldn't be. Anyway, so the economy, arts can really help the economy. And so what's happened to this wonderful idea, right? Well, I shared it with President Hargis, and I shared it with Joe Weaver, and I've shared it with the mayor, and actually right at that time there was a change of mayor. I forget the original guy I was talking to, but then Nathan Bates became mayor, and then I shared it with him. And I think it was 2009 as well. We had the Oklahoma State Arts Council meeting here in Stillwater, and so that really helped to make at least the mayoral office aware. And I hope that it was actually my plan that maybe helped spur a little bit of the discussion. Mm-hmm. Who knows? But in my mind, I guess I can let that fantasy play out. Probably had nothing to do with it. But anyway, Nathan Bates apparently contacted the city manager,
Dan
Galloway. Dan Galloway contacted John McClenny, was head of Park and Recs, and had him work with Multi-Arts Center to compile a list of entities in the community, in other words, stakeholders, if you will, to work on creating this concept of an arts district. Okay, so basically we met with people from the community center and Multi-Arts Center. The Children's Museum was supposed to go in, and basically what also began to happen at that time was the university purchased this postal plaza building. And there's another story that's happening simultaneously over there that I'd like to talk about, because it's really important. So you might have to bring me back to that, because it too, I think, is related to the creativity enhancement here in Stillwater and on campus. And it has to do with one of our most incredible alumni from 1966, Bill Goldston. So I've got myself in a little loop-de-loop here of stories, but basically we met and we toured several different sites to get a sense of the assets that we had in terms of facilities, and we discovered something that we already knew, but it reinforced it, is that there's a wonderful arts district already in position. It's actually right across the street from where you live. And it goes from Main Street. Actually, let's go backwards. It starts down on 12th Street, 12th and Duck. And what's the street that's parallel to Duck to the east?
Duncan or Husband?
Okay, not sure, but it's just east of Duck Street. The library, the new library is fantastic. What an incredible gift that is that the city has. I love that library. It
has the outdoor space also.
Exactly, on the east side. It's got a little public courtyard where the band plays and such, but it's well underused. Why? Because there's no programming out there. But it exists, and that, of course, incorporates the old high school, I think it was, or elementary, but that's all part of the civic portion of the library. Fantastic. North of that is Multi-Arts Center, which is also a huge gift, which now is like, will it survive? But anyway, it's a huge gift. Just across the street, I'm not sure if that is still under consideration or not, but the Children's Museum had signs up there that they were going to build a site. At present, they're north of the high school and have remodeled it appears to be temporary facility until they get funding to make that happen. Then there are some tired buildings that are houses that I think that there's remnants there of parts that could be really interesting. But for the most part, if you had a bigger vision, you might keep some of it. But most of it could become something greater, because once you get to 9th Street and across is the old junior high school, which is the community center with a huge theater, huge, fantastic gymnasium that is a dance hall to die for, and remodeled classrooms on the first level for dances. Dance classes take place there, and I've taken Tai Chi, and I know other community groups rent it and use it. And they have a kitchen, which is really cool. But the whole upstairs has 17 classrooms that we visited that are untouched, and they are large. I don't know, I couldn't give you the exact size, but they're twice the size of my office here, and they're a large. 17 unused. What those studios I was talking about that could be downtown in that open building, you could still have that glass front building, but you could have studios up there, amazing studios that could. See, the thing about that is, if it was done right, Multi-Art Center is failing. What could happen is, if there was a national program to bring in practicing artists, and again, musicians, writers, whatever, but I'm going to speak to the fine arts because that's what I know. Let's say you had, and relating it to Multi-Art Center, if you brought in a glass blowing artist, because they have glass blowing at Multi-Art Center, if you brought in a ceramicist who's a potter or production kind of person, or even a sculptor, potter, a jeweler, and maybe a photographer or drawer, or, okay? And those people are here for 2 to 3 years and stagger them. And let's say where you live, or right across from the library on Duck Street, there's a whole set of bungalows that are, what if those were purchased and turned into housing for artists. So you create a community there. You make it easy for them to live there. You provide or give them low rent studio space. And they are the teachers at Multi-Art Center. And they rotate out. What would that do to the art community here? It would instill constant, vibrant, rich, new ideas, techniques. You get to choose, who's coming in for 2 to 3 years or whatever. So, it could be amazing. And those people, I guarantee you, are probably either recent MFA grads, or they've been doing the art fair circuit, or have been doing gallery work. And they're looking probably for a place to live and make their work that's affordable. And Stillwater is that. It just doesn't have an arts community. And the problem with Multi-Art Center is they keep having the same people over and over and over again. We provide them students, who teach, but they're undergrads, and they pay so little that it's like $7 an hour to teach a class. It's horrible, and so you can't get really seasoned people to come in and do that. Anyway, what would that do? And if you saw that in music and writing, and those people could also be, that the State Arts Council has artists in residencies. These people could apply for the state program and easily get into it. The public schools, which does not teach visual arts, music once a week, I think, in the elementary school, creative writing, you could instill the public schools with quality artists as well. I mean, it's all right. It can be put together. It happens other places. But what it takes is community buy-in, government buy-in, community, city government buy-in, and applying for grants that have this big vision to change communities and make things happen, and some excitement behind it. I mean, I have excitement for it, obviously. And as department head, you think, oh boy, he's probably got some power. No power, nothing. And it's not like I want power. I just want to try to help make these things happen. But there's so many. It doesn't happen at my level. It has to happen with the city and the university deciding they're going to work together to make a really cool and exciting and stimulating cultural environment for the people who live and work and attend this university.
Have you felt that any people in these positions have shown interest at all?
Well, Burns, going back to Burns, since he's gotten here, wow, big changes in attitude. And he and Ann both, I think, are just incredible supporters of trying to make these kind of changes occur. I don't see it in the city. I don't even know. The city, I don't know what they're about. I cannot figure it out. But the only sign that something good's happening is they put goats out to mow the lawns. Have you seen them?
No.
Oh my God, it's fantastic. It's like the first out-of-the-box idea I've seen. That's, of course, going back to really grassroots. But basically, they're employing goats in places where it's difficult to get mowers in. So on 9th Street and down near Willis, where the city drainage is out to Stillwater Creek, comes from really the university where the dam is, and it goes through those neighborhoods, and it crosses 9th Street, I think, at Willis. Just to the south, there's a little park, and it drops down in the ravine where the aquifer waterway is, and they've put fence up, and they have goats grazing there to get the grass down, and then they move them to other places. Brilliant idea. Love it. People come out to see the goats. They love it. I think it's brilliant, and it's not that hard. And I think it makes people look at our city a little differently too. Doing something that's playful and creative and problem solving. Anyway, back to Burns. This whole concept of a performing arts center, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And that's because of Burns. It's very cool. I think I should probably shift over, since I don't need to take all your tape up, but to Bill Goldston.
Okay.
About the time the Creativity Initiative, 2009, January, I don't know how it happened exactly, but Bill Goldston has been giving us artwork at Oklahoma State University in the art department since the early 80s. And he was a graduate here of 66. And he came from a very small town down around Pauls Valley. And he went to school here. He met J.J. McVicker, and J.J. taught him printmaking. And he graduated and went up to the University of Wisconsin, I think, or Minnesota, I forget which one. I think it was Minnesota, actually. And he was drafted, went to Vietnam, became a printmaker there. And anyway, he came back, and his professor there said, hey, there is a incredible opportunity out in Long Island with Tatiana Grossman, and she's looking for an intern to help. And so he went out there and went back and forth between Minnesota and Long Island, finishing his graduate degree and working with all of these artists. So anyway, as Tatiana aged, he became the proprietor and operator of that business, and it became Universal Limited Arts Edition. And he has worked with the top artists of contemporary printmaking and drawing and painting and sculpture, for that matter. But Robert Rauschenberg, really became one of his best friends, and he's worked with Robert Motherwell, Helen Frankenthaler, Jim Dine, Jasper Johns, and Elizabeth Murray, Terry Winters. It just goes on and on and on. And he began gifting us works by Larry Rivers and these other artists who I just named. And that was going into our Gardner Art Gallery permanent art collection, and it was the foundation of that. Well, Bill, I think it probably happened after Robert Rauschenberg died. He was in charge of his estate. And Bill has been positioning Rauschenberg works down at the Fred Jones Museum in OU. He set up a show at the Philbrook, all around the world, in Italy, Rauschenberg retrospective. And so he's always had OSU in his mind. As a matter of fact, since 1980, I want to say 4, he, every single year, he's provided 3 internships. Going back to this idea, he's from Oklahoma. Tatiana provided him the opportunity to see New York, to learn what's going on, to see the bigger world in the arts that's out there. With that kind of philosophy, he's paid for 3 students, one in the fall, one in the spring, and one in the summer, to get out to New York, intern in his shop, go into the city. He pays for their Long Island Rail pass, pays for their museum fees. All he wants out of them is to be awakened. That's all he's asking, is to go in there and wake up, see what you can do, what the world can be, and then come back, finish a semester, and make the most of yourself with this. That's all he's asking. Incredible. Yeah. Incredible gift. Blows me away every time I think about it. Anyway, he came to OSU and began speaking to Burns Hargis. And this was in January 2009, I think. We had a meeting after they met, and Anne was there. Our dean was there. Select members of the faculty were there. And he basically said, you've got this collection. It's in storage. Having a big OSU art museum is a fantastic idea, but it's going to take a little while. Let's get started. let's get a building downtown. Let's look at that old Katz building. Let's look at that VFW hall building. Let's go down and look and see if we can find a place to get this collection out of the library annex, out of closets, out of offices and such, and show people, I gave it to you for students to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he did.
Wow.
And so that started. And we met at Project Gallery. We went to Katz before we toured it and thought that would be good. And the city was like, well, we have ideas for it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, went through all of that. And the result was from January to August, we went from no building to having a postal plaza building that the university purchased. And Joe Weaver has a lot to do with that. He networked to find out it belonged to the Baptist Church on that block. And they sold it for $1 million to OSU, and the Regents approved the purchase. We got it. It is glorious. And just about the last 2 weeks, they've gone in and gutted it. Latasha, it is phenomenal.
Wow.
The problem is, as the university has done to this department many times, in order to do it right, it might be $7 million. In order to do it pretty good, probably $5 million. But how much do they want to put on it? $2 million. Well, the reason we're sitting in this building right now is because the Bartletts gave money to renovate the Bartlett Center. It was a 1910 building, and make it a full-fledged art department building. And they did it, and they gave the money to do it. And we had a design for phase 2, which is out there, which is where sculpture and ceramics and printmaking and jewelry and 3D foundations and a whole gallery and museum were supposed to be.
Wow.
Phase 2. That was in 1984, 5 maybe, and it's now 2011, and we're waiting. What did we get? We got the Visual Arts Annex. Why did we get it? We got it because we were in a Quonset hut on Hall of Fame in Monroe, I think, and it was disastrous. I spent the first 15 years of my career teaching in a pit.
Really?
The physical plant wouldn't even come over to patch the ceilings anymore. It was horrible. It was horrible. And we complained all the time about safety issues. So when they came to us saying, we'd like you to have a new site, and they'd say safety issues were the reason. It wasn't that. It's because they wanted to put the multimodal transportation building right there, and they wanted that spot. So they put us way out on the northwest side of campus, and we got our stated need after doing assessment was about $2.5 million to do it right, so that students would not be fighting for space, that we might be able to have space to have graduate students, which we don't have space right now, that sculpture could actually make sculpture versus sculpture. All of these things. Ventilation and printmaking, kind of obvious. They work with acids and solvents.
Yeah.
It's a major necessity. They cut way back. They didn't even finish walls all the way up in that space. So what did we get is $1 million. And I forget the gentleman's name who came, who was head of from the president's office, basically top accountant, said $1 million, period. So what are you going to do? Okay, well, scoot ahead to 2011. I've been writing safety reports with problems where ventilation's coming out one side and getting from printmaking solvents and getting sucked into ceramics where the gas furnaces are, and headaches and different things that people are reporting. How much is the ventilation? $250,000 now. $250,000, and there are many, 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 many other issues, and it could have been addressed up front. And this is what I see happening with the Postal Plaza is you get this much and you can get it done, right? Well, you can do something, But to achieve these larger goals of integrating the university into the community, you're talking about cutting out a little gift shop maybe, which is going to draw people in.
Mm-hmm.
A small coffee shop or something, to socialize in that area. Because, and it's not like the university has to run that. I say also it should be like Aspen or Daily Grind, a local business in there doing it. A lecture hall, and I'm not talking massive, I'm just talking space to put chairs and a projector screen so that it could be used to show films, this film series, or for other organizations and groups in the city to come and make use of that building. You cut these things out, what are you going to have? You're going to have a temple to art, and who the hell wants to go there? I mean, I like art, but I don't like going to these dead spaces, which you go there once and that's it. You've seen it, and it's like, well, so what?
Mm-hmm.
And that is a denial of creativity. I mean, having artwork on a wall with no kind of programming or interaction is not solving a problem. I think it creates a problem, actually, of lack of creativity and lack of sharing the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be more than that. It's got to be. And so there are ideas out there that are incredible of engaging. And going back to that First Friday thing, that museum could be something that has these events. And it could be local dance. You could bring in high school students. Oh, and that was another thing I was thinking about with that downtown site, is you have high school interns,
Mm-hmm.
assisting artists
Mm-hmm.
in projects or keeping the place open. I mean, even the idea of working with the School of Entrepreneurship with art students or whatever kind of students to produce a product that could be sold in these places. I mean, there's possibilities out there. But it takes more than me just talking. I can talk. I've been talking. It's like we met with this Stillwater Arts Task Force for the, as I mentioned initially, I hope this all makes sense when it's played back, but met with John McClenny and the various constituents to try to develop that arts district that I talked about, which is a nice L going up Duck Street from the library to the junior high school. Now you've got the Postal Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
The city owns all of that property between the News Press and the Postal Plaza, so 9th and 8th Street.
Which is essentially a lot.
Which is essentially a lot where they had the ice skating rink, and I understand they're not doing the ice skating rink this year. I've done it the last 2 years. It was fantastic. People enjoyed having a place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Why cut it? Why not make it better? And if that was turned into a park where the farmers market was, off the east side of the junior high school, I can't remember the coordinator's name, the director of that building, but there have been two of them, and they both think it'd be brilliant to go off the east side with a stage, outdoor stage. Then they could use the indoor facilities and stuff. So you'd have a stage outside and inside. And if that's a park right there, then you've got a great place to have outdoor concerts.
Mm-hmm.
And the farmers market. If the Postal Plaza Museum's there, you could have a sculpture garden leading to it. And the problem I keep running into is all of a sudden I hear about a water park that is supposed to go in there. Well, how come those people aren't talking to this group? I mean, it's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's herding these ideas together. They're, in terms of city planning, I've even tried to talk to the Convention Visitors Bureau, Chamber of Commerce, and I just get bounced around. And it's just weird. Weird. And of course, I think if the university went in and said at the presidential level, let's talk about this. How can we make this whole community better? But could you imagine even having that water park there? And if they put a water park in, shouldn't it relate to the sculpture that's there and to the farmers market potential booths and this theater?
Yeah.
And then the next step is downtown. it's half a block away. So you have a corridor tying right into businesses and the arts. So you've got an arts district. What did we come up with is a suggestion that was given to John Galloway. Is it John? Dan Galloway, sorry. I'm not very good with names. But anyway, this was forwarded, heck if I know.
No word.
No word, no nothing. April 27th, 2011. It's now November 16th, 2011. Maybe those art people will just go away. If that's the kind of attitude, that's ridiculous. I don't think I've said anything that there may be ideas that are questionable, but there are degrees of them that I think can be really successful here. And I guess if Stillwater just wants to be another Perkins and Hall of Fame landscape with Red Lobster, Perkins Restaurant, the big American flag, and Chili's and Starbucks, well, you're on that path. But if you want to be something special and unique, you have to work at it and put dollars and attention towards it, and I don't see it. What I do see that's a promise when I go downtown is Aspen Coffee Company, Stillwater Summit, District Bicycle, Flourishes. Louis has horrible food, but thank God we have Louis.
Mm-hmm. And they're packed.
And they are packed.
Congregate there.
Exactly. And all of a sudden there's this new place, Brooklands, too, which is another positive thing. So there's a desire. So you go down there and you drink and you eat, and the shops close mostly at 5. So what do you do for cultural enrichment? You got to have some arts.
Keep drinking and eating, I guess.
Drinking and eating, watching TV,
Yeah.
watch sport games. I love sports too, that's not a problem. But it needs to be bigger than that. We are a university. And why not take our strengths, which are vast, and incorporate them into our community, our whole community. So.
I know that you are a graduate of Leadership Arts, Oklahoma. Did you enjoy the experience of Leadership Arts and learn a lot that has helped? And also, did you discover exciting things going on in other communities throughout the state?
Well, Leadership Arts is a brilliant idea, and it's everything that I've been talking about is reinforced by what Leadership Arts is trying to do in cities across Oklahoma. Which also reinforces the idea that it's a really good idea that we should be doing this. And I think the Leadership Arts group, it's important to realize that its constituency is people from theater and music and visual arts, but also mayors, city government people, Convention and Visitor Bureau people, Main Street America for Oklahoma people, which is smart because, again, it's that whole thing of a community. It's not just, the problem I keep feeling is it's like these art, that committee we were on was a bunch of artists trying to invite others to come, but they didn't come. You can't have one entity trying to I suppose you can if you have a ton of money and you're willing to, pay for all those changes. But to make a really good buy-in, I guess we could look at the stadium out there as an example, where one person has a lot of money and can really make a difference. But in terms of a whole community, you want everyone to have a buy-in and feel that it's their community. And when I was talking before about the university and the city working together, what's so important about that is the changes that could occur would look like Stillwater. It'd be progressive Stillwater, not just trying to duplicate it's that city that they keep Paducah, Kentucky or something. We can't be Paducah, Kentucky. I don't want to be Paducah, Kentucky. I want to be Stillwater, Oklahoma. That's unique and special about Stillwater, Oklahoma. And bring in some of the positive things that others in the city think would be, define it as something unique. People want to go to a unique place. That's why I enjoy traveling, because I want something new and enrich my life in some way. So we don't really want duplication, I don't think. And anyway, leadership arts demonstrated that it takes all these different kinds of thinking because people have different skill sets and bring something new to the table. And of course, they're from all over Oklahoma, which doesn't help necessarily Stillwater, but that's what Stillwater needs to do, is bring that together. However, the cool thing about having all these people all over the place is I met friends who do, like the city planner for Tulsa. He's a fabulous guy. I never would have met him any other way. And who knew that we enjoyed similar kinds of things and were on the same team, so to speak. I met people over in Enid, and Enid, I think, is really doing its best. In the group I was in, the leadership arts group, they had the most number of people from the city. I think there was maybe one artist, actually, and they had 6 people from Enid in governmental, like I said, Main Street and Convention Visitors Bureau and some governmental folks too. Wow. I mean, they're making a commitment. I get emails from them about events that they're doing, and they're making an effort, a real strong effort. I haven't been up there. It just hasn't been on my agenda to get over there yet, but I'm very interested to see what they've done. Ada, the city of Ada, has been working with ECU and built an arts district and has a whole sculptural park that they've made. And they are like held up as like the poster child of success, of moving forward. Stillwater already has all the infrastructure in place. Those things we were talking about, from the library to the multi-art center to the potential children's museum to the junior high school, a big park, a museum, and the city. We already have all of that. They don't have that. And yet they're held up as like having success. We could be miles ahead of them. But that shows where they've come from, and they've come a long way. Their university is right at the end of the street from their downtown, basically. And same with Tahlequah. Wonderful. I really like Tahlequah, but it's tiny in terms of what the changes they've made. It's all very concentrated, and it's all positive stuff. And they have a strong Native American component there, and this is the cool thing that I learned, the way the Tahlequah changes took place, and I forget what they called it, but the mayor of the city, the president of the university, and the chief of the Cherokee tribe all meet once a week and have breakfast together.
Wow.
Now, if there isn't a better way to get things done, I can't think of it. They know each other. They share food together. Topics can come up. I just know, being in this building, email's one thing, but I can go just up to the restroom and I can run into 2 or 3 people and take care of business like this without having to do, this informal way. Just seeing people and meeting like that. That's what Stillwater needs to do. Yeah. Just get the right people in the right place on a regular basis and in an informal way, and stuff will happen.
Norman also has an impressive arts district.
Yeah, Norman. And I hate to compare us to Norman, but yeah, got to get on. And of course, Burns knows all about that.
Right. His
daughter owns a crunchy granola joint down there, and we don't even have, we have one crunchy granola joint.
Well, getting back to creativity on the OSU campus and with students, there's been a lot of conversations about more of an interdisciplinary education on our campus.
Which is a brilliant idea. I'm all in favor of it, but the practical problem is we're all BFA or all undergraduate studies, and the degree programs are such that they have so many hours to take in certain things, and then there's open hours. But the faculty teach 3-3 loads. They're full. There's no wiggle room, and they don't get a release for research like they do in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
Art history does, but studio and graphic design does not. And I know my faculty would love to do that. Who wouldn't love teaching a drawing class with zoology? We have drawing professors that take their drawing 1 or 2 class over to the zoology area and draw from the collection. But if it was a true interdisciplinary class, you'd understand a lot about mammals and reptiles and bone structure, whatever, habitats, whatever, as well as drawing them. And it'd be incredible, of course. Just something simple like that. Or even with museum studies and working with chemistry. Actually, if you're going to be a conservator, you have to get both of these degrees. There's no way, unless somebody does a major and a minor, to do it. The only way it can happen is in the summertime. And we have something called the Dole Reed Center for the Arts, which is a College of Arts and Science program. And they're just kind of getting off the ground. But I think that's kind of an idea that's happening out there, where science and art and other kinds of activities can take place. But again, that's off campus,
mm-hmm.
and it's summertime. It's not really as part of a curriculum of a degree plan. You'd really have to break the whole system down and build it up again to make it happen for undergraduates in a successful way based on our degree programs. We've looked and tried different things. We've co-taught classes, co-taught, and you can kind of make it work, but it's really hard with the current system to make that as potent as it could be.
There has also been a lot of talk of creativity in general across the campus and helping students be more creative and helping faculty teach more creatively.
Yeah.
Which I see this as an exciting thing going on.
Sure.
Do you have any ideas about other ways we should be increasing this on campus, or
increasing creativity?
Yes. In students in general, in ways that we haven't been in the past?
Well, of course, in the art classes, it's one of the things that we really do. We work on just foundational technical kind of skills and skill development. But along with that, we're teaching content, and when I say teach content, hopefully teaching students how to think for themselves,
mm-hmm.
to solve problems. And it's kind of what we do. And it just gets better and better and better as students continue along the program. The whole program's foundation is kind of just creativity development.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you asked me about a creativity minor before, and I think that's very exciting, especially from the educational aspect for those who need to understand better what makes creativity work. How do you achieve that? And I think faculty certainly could hugely benefit from attending the workshops, which I went to, and I think they could be even better workshops actually, to even dwell on that more. Like, what are the new discoveries we found about the way people learn, the brain develops and such. I think things like that is really helpful, because then you can understand when somebody is not connecting with what you're saying, so you can try it another way. And I have twins, and I'll tell you, as a teacher, watching my twins learn and their struggles, totally different people. One hears it, understands it, comprehends it, can totally elaborate on that. The other cannot have difficulties reading, doesn't really hear things and understand it, but if they have their hands in it and you're talking and working with them, it takes them other ways. They're very tactile kind of learners and seeing how something works. And extremely creative. Both are extremely creative, but in entirely different ways. And so I think learning about how people learn to be creative is very helpful. And so I'm supportive of a creativity minor and enhancing that. But I think it's really good for education purposes. But it could also be good for students to know what, to know if they're having problems in an area, how they could also improve what they're learning. I mean, what their strengths are, because everybody's different. And if those could be like crystal clear, that would be really kind of an interesting thing for a university to say, hey, there are visual learners, there are auditory learners, there are, I don't even know them all. I don't know them all. I just know they exist, and I don't know how. I guess it's from years of teaching. You just sort of figure out you need to help somebody this way and that way. But even I could learn those. I wouldn't fight it at all. It only helps.
I'm sure it's really frustrating for some students when the teacher doesn't realize that, and the student may not even realize that about themselves, and they're struggling in that situation.
I think so. Absolutely. I'll tell you, having twins at exactly the same age, learning entirely differently, that just underscores all of that. And it's been amazing to learn that.
How old are your twins?
They are 8. Yesterday, or day before yesterday, was their birthday. For the record.
Do you feel like you're...
Here they are.
Yes.
That's, that's probably 4 years ago.
Do you feel like they contribute to your own creativity?
Absolutely. Oh my God. Absolutely. It's very liberating. It kind of completes that cycle of life, and starting all over again and watching it. And some of the struggles that I personally went through, I can see them dealing with, and it's sad at times because you're like, oh, you'll be okay, don't worry about it. And then other times it's they can just come out with the craziest things too. And you just, when you think about creativity too, I look in my son's room, and he's the one that's having the problems to the test. And oh my God, in this public schools, it is all about the test now. As a matter of fact, I was trying to get OOHRP into the public schools to actually combine a visual arts ideation process along with his songwriting. He does a songwriting residency and 30 hours, and then they write a song, and then he performs it with the students. It's a great thing. So I was trying to get it for my kids' school at Sanger, and thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to bring art students over, or at least art ed students, and have them work with the students to help develop ideas visually. And Monty was saying, the visual parts can inform the song, and the song can inform the visual parts, and he thought it was a great idea. I forgot how I got off on this.
Did that happen though?
Oh, we're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working on a State Arts Council grant to try to make that happen.
Henry's Room?
Oh yeah, and so Henry's Room, right. Thank you. And so, I've lost the tie, but But what I was going to say is he's the one having problems in school. Oh, to the test. There you go. The test. And what the principal told me is, gosh, we really support this idea, but finding 30 hours in a semester is really hard. I'm not sure if we can do it because the students all have tests to do, and now the teachers are actually graded on how the students do, and so that grade will be posted. And we'll be done with the testing probably at the end of April. So if, in May, there's like 3 weeks left, that is the problem, right? We're teaching to the test.
Yeah.
And the standards, of course, have gone up, which is okay, except my son is struggling, and yet he's a brilliant young person, very creative. How do I know he's creative? Back to the room. You look around his room, and it's chaos, but all of a sudden you look and you realize he's taken this doll, if you will, and he's tied little bits and pieces like gum wrappers together to make a chain for an alligator. So this doll is like walking an alligator, and it's just sort of in there. And then you look over amongst all this stuff. It's just, in my first impression, it's debris. And all of a sudden you see he's got his cars. They're perfectly organized. And it's not just straight. He's got them in an arc, and it's going from tall to small, and there's order in the chaos. And a test is not going to show that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to show that kind of deliberate effort in something that you can't test. I mean, it's irrelevant. And maybe that's how the arts are, too. I mean, you can test, they know yellow and blue makes green, and, what the tertiary colors are, or, what light refraction is, and, how to do perspective. You could test all that, but creativity and what that can bring and mean in a job, in a community, to lifestyle enrichment for a community, to just being human, I'm not sure you can test that exactly. You can know when you're in the presence of it, but it's not going to show up on a little bubble A, B, C, or D, or E, is it? I don't think so.
No.
And they're reducing the amount of that. And I heard at that presentation we went to last week, what was the name of it?
Creative teaching.
Creative teaching. I don't know which individual it was that said it, but they were talking about how art, visual art in this case, is being taught, and students might have paintings. I'm thinking of a specific example, which I'll tell you about in a second. And they've had an art experience, but it was really creative. Okay. Interesting. Well, I was at my kid's school, and a 4th grade teacher had done an art project on her own with the students because there is no art class, and she wanted them to experience painting and creativity. You would think she was thinking that. Well, I loved the pieces, what she did, but the creativity element of it, I would say, was very low. And what it was, each student had a specific size sheet of paper, a red painted background, and a fish pointing a certain direction. And each one, of course, was different, creativity, in terms of interpretation of what the guidelines were, but they were all pointing the same way, the same colors, the same everything about it, which when you put it all together, looked cool as could be, because you had this repetition and all this stuff going on. But I question, and I think this is what that person was saying, how much creativity, to what degree was the creativity there? And I don't know what the initial assignment was and so forth, but in the end, when you look at it, you just see a teacher doing the best they can to produce a product that's going to look good, have success, and give the students an opportunity to work with paint and color. And I probably had a theme, maybe related to science or something, a fish, who knows. But Is that really pushing creativity? Probably not. I still like it. Everyone had a good time. It was a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to belittle it, but when you talk about creativity, I think it's minimal.
So, in different disciplines across campus, do you think people can sometimes think that they're giving a project that is creative and they just don't realize it themselves? That it's not? Or
it's possible. I'm not familiar with what other people are doing to say that, but if that scenario I just described seems feasible or possible, and if one were to agree with my interpretation of that, then it might be able to be applied in different ways. And I don't have an on-campus example to give because I'm not in those classes.
Well, is there anything else that we haven't covered that we should talk about?
Well, I know I've said a lot of things that are negative, but I'm actually optimistic. And I think the things I'm saying are healthy. Stillwater has come a long way. OSU has come a long way. And I think we really are fortunate to have had Burns Hargis and Hargis recently. Big positive changes in that regard. For the arts and just in general across campus, I think it's a different atmosphere. I don't want to really make any comments about Dr. Sternberg because he just got here, and it seems like his heart's in the right place. But I don't have anything to say in regards to that. And there's hope. There's really hope. There's possibility. It's just making it a reality. It's really, it's hard work. And a lot of people have to be involved.
And communicating openly.
Communicating openly about what's going on and what isn't going to go on. What their goals are. I think it would be very helpful. I am positive.
And still energetic.
It's still energetic, exactly. Oh, I forgot about this. This is an awesome part of Stillwater too that also is totally understated.
And
KOSU
Radio.
KOSU Radio going all across the state, and I think they also could take bigger advantage of what's going on at OSU in every area. But without KOSU, wow, the other input from the outside world wouldn't be there. You've got the computer and internet and stuff, but that is it. That is the carrier of information that's really important to hear, especially in a university environment. But anyway, that's a treasure right there. Great resource.
Definitely.
I love it. So anyway, I appreciate you asking me things.
Yes, well, thank you very much for talking with me.